Hey, ain't no woman past the age of 25 trying to raise no man, rehab no man, fix, teach, restore, motivate a man to be a man. They like, oh shoot. Because I'm telling so much truth. I'm about to move furniture in here. Ain't no woman trying to believe in your potential after a certain age. You got to come already potenched. You got to come already made, formulated, properly raised or healed, or don't come at all. Ain't no woman trying to be the one that's going to help you find yourself. First find God, then find yourself, then find her. I don't know if a lot of dudes understand that these days women's tolerance for that whole like we trying to develop process is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And y'all think that y'all can play with the good ones that you come across because later on you're just going to find another woman and then she's going to be just as good. Okay, she might be just as good or have some of the great qualities, but if her tolerance ain't there, you're still going to need to have the development that you should have had a long time ago. Ain't no woman past a certain age trying to be a part of your training wheels. You can't do the basics as a man. You don't want to assume your role, but you want her to assume the traditional role of a woman. What do y'all think this is? Fellas, help me understand. I'm one of y'all now. I'm one of y'all. We always talk about women being so emotional and we're so logical and we got this, man, look, ain't nothing logical about waiting or even aiming for the most mature woman that you can find because you love her maturity, but you hate when it applies to the maturity that she expects of you in order to be equally yoked with her. Y'all help me understand something. Matter of fact, sisters, y'all put down in the comments, are you willing to take a man who got some good potential after the age of 25 or 30, some of y'all 40, 50, and still give him time to become a man? Help me understand that. I would just, if I had to guess, if I was a betting man, I would say most women today, if they are grown women, they are not going to keep spending months and years for you to become who you should have come into the relationship as or not come at all. And again, this is more so of a forewarning for men who think, I got time. I got time. What's going to happen is you're going to get old. Your body ain't going to work the same way. And you're going to say, well, I'm finally ready to settle down. I'm ready to settle down. And when you get with the woman who's mature, she's going to say, there's so much work you have not done because you've avoided women who are willing to hold you accountable. And that's the type of girl I am. Bye. And you ain't going to be doing nothing but stuck in that same pattern that you were in your early 20s, maybe mid 20s, with women who can't mentally stimulate you, women who don't want you for you, because it takes a mature woman to want you for who you are. Let's keep it all the way real. That's why, I'm trying to get it across to y'all. You thinking you're going to be able to have all of this second, third, 10th chances to become the man you should have been. It's not going like that. Women today are not going for that. She not 25 anymore. She ain't got time to waste on your 5-year plan to get your life together. I'm not even just speaking financially. More women can have grace with you financially if they see the intangibles as a man, the characteristics of a man. If they see that there, they're more likely. I just got a DM from a sister. It blows my mind. The gall, the audacity a lot of men have at their big old age of 40 and 50 years old, thinking that they're going to be able to pull that same old, everybody, ain't nobody perfect. I'm still trying to. And before I really get into this, let me go ahead and put this here. Because a lot of these problems can be avoided with the right conversation up front. Sisters, you shouldn't even be going past the first or second date with some of these guys. They will literally show you their true colors if you have the right conversation. If you want the real conversations that go beyond the surface level, comment the word real. Comment the word real. I'm going to send you a box of conversation starters. The best ones I found. I done created them myself. I done played with a lot of them. These are the absolute best for getting beyond the surface level. Comment real. REAL. I'll send you a 15% off discount link for the question I gave this woman to get to the truth of this man. She should have asked before. So again, comment real. I'll send you a 15% off discount link because the conversation's whole entire purpose in the beginning is to reveal the green flags from the red flags. So you know where a person stands without you having to live it out the hard way, learn the hard way with months and years of your life. I told her this. First off, let me give you backstory. She's dealing with a guy, right? He snaps out over nothing. I'm talking about not a bad tone, not nothing. It's like literally just asinine reasons. He'll find a reason to snap out on her. And she finds herself trying to be his therapist, his teacher about how this doesn't work for her and this. And I'm like, sis, it's not that yelling or being yelled at doesn't work for you. That's not a healthy construct of any relationship that's mutually respectful. And I said, look, because I've been using these conversation starters in my own life, I said, look, there's a question I want you to ask. And you should have asked this already. What do you usually do whenever you feel disrespected? If that man can't tell you in depth his thought process, what he's done to work on that, he's going to operate from a toddler place. That has to be something he's put intentionality on. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with a man who tells you what he's going to do and what he's working on and basically trying to go on his potential. But if he's 40, 50 years old and he ain't already put in work on that, ain't no amount of potential that's about to get realized now that you're in the picture. There's no more motivation than whatever failed relationships he had up until this point. All it takes is the right conversation and it will reveal it. Not necessarily whether or not he's going to tell you the truth, but if he doesn't even have it thought out, you know there's a 0% chance he's put in work in that area. It's like if somebody say they can cook and they tell you a dish that they can cook, but they can't go through the steps on how to cook it. You know they don't know what they're doing. And everybody has some type of reaction whenever we feel disrespected or offended. So if he has not addressed that, if he has not been intentional about that, that's just one, by the way. That was her specific situation. Because now she's dealing with a man who has no intentionality around how he talks, how he reacts, what he does when he gets upset. He is the exact same version of himself when it comes to that aspect of himself that he was when he was 10 years old. And so just like she's dealing with a little 10-year-old, she finds herself trying to teach him and motivate him and make things softer and shrink herself and not say the wrong words. Look, this is a 40-something-year-old woman, by the way, grown woman, mature woman. And I want for any woman listening to this, if you grown, 40 plus years old, 30 plus years old, at your age, potential is a polite word for not ready. Don't be sparing more decades to invest in a man's maybe someday promises. You deserve a man who's already arrived, not the one who's still figuring out the destination. But it's up to you. Like, your timeline shouldn't accommodate any man's trial and error phase if he's over a certain age. Now, you 19, 20 years old, listening to this, this ain't for you. Just go ahead and scroll to the next. This ain't even for you. But anybody else, like, especially those women who are ready now, you need a man who is ready now. Or you need that man who's going to step aside for another man who's already done the work that man is still planning to do. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? That girl spent her 20s dating men with potential. Of course, 30 plus years old. She's demanding a man with proof. That kind of experience teaches a woman that potential is just future disappointment, wrapped in present day excuses. And I want everybody to hear this because a lot of women feel like they're not being understanding enough or empathetic enough. If you are ready to set a boundary on this whole, like, well, I'm still getting there. I'm still working on it. I'm still, man, look, stop giving any type of interest, any type of attention to projects, fixer-uppers, investments that might pay off at some point in the future. It's nice if he got a business, he's been working on, the track record is there. It's nice if you could see some type of work. Okay, cool. Cause you can more so trust in that man's patterns and projection as opposed to just his promises and potential. You can't do that at 30 years old plus, not because your clock is ticking and you ain't got no more time. It's because who a man is who he is at that point. If he's truly growth oriented, he's going to have a lot more to show for that work and for that growth than just words. He's going to have investment. He's going to have at least a more in-depth understanding. You're not going to be the very first one to broach this topic or feel like you're dealing with somebody who has a very kindergarten understanding of where he's at in any aspect of a relationship. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? If I'm speaking facts, put facts down in the comment section. If I'm speaking facts, put facts down in the comment section. I want, especially my grown, more mature audience, because it's just not the same if you're 20 years old. You still a young lady, cool. You're still an adult, but the game is different once you get to 25 plus, especially 30 plus, and you're dating men who are 30 plus. These men have already had some type of serious relationship, somebody bring things to their attention, and they've already decided where they stand on that. So all of the basic concepts of a healthy relationship, all those basic concepts, you trying to get this man to switch his value system. You're not introducing a value he's never heard of. You're not. You're not introducing anything that's just a brand new concept or whatever. And stop thinking that you're being harsh by being zero tolerance on these things. That's not harshness. That's just being realistic about what stage of your life, what this stage of your life requires from a true partner. Again, not project. Experiencing a grown man, or should I say, expecting a grown man to have his life together is not unreasonable. It is literally age appropriate standards. He should have his life together. Perfect? No. Together, not falling apart, not spiraling, not bound to bring you down the moment you get attached to this man or connected to him in any way. No. So it looks like high expectations is really just refusing to date below your maturity level. You got to know, as a woman, you are mature. You are developed. Yes, there may be things in your life that could use a tweak here and there, cleaning up here and there. But you put yourself in a position where your life shouldn't be just on a downward spiral. Why would you connect yourself to a man who is? And I'm not even talking about money. We know how important that is. I'm talking about his mental acuity. I'm talking about his integrity. Like, why is he still trying to develop sexual discipline in his 40s? What are we talking about? Look, I'm a man. Y'all know I'm imperfect. In my 20s, I was tripping. I'll be the first, second, third to tell you. I'm 36 years old. I ain't got no excuse. He 40, 50 years. He ain't got no excuse. That's not you demanding perfection. That's you requiring the basics. Financial stability, yes, but also emotional availability. A clear life direction. Established career. These are not luxury features. They're not. They should be standard equipment for men your age who've been responsible with their time. If you 40 years old and you still dealing with a man who got the resume of a 25-year-old, that's no longer potential. That's a decade plus of underperformance. There's a decade plus of underperformance. And any man listening to this, your potential means that woman is going to be building a life with a man while you're still building yourself. The whole concept of building together is that the individual pieces are already built. You just putting them together and trying to create something new that's special. But if that woman has truly worked on herself, she needs a man who can contribute to building a shared future, not a man that she has to build up first. You should have got that already out your system. I'm sorry. Y'all call me harsh. Y'all call me whatever. Cancel me, I guess, whatever. If you feel like what I'm saying is facts, find a little share button and hit that share button so we can get more people in this conversation, because a lot of people don't want to admit this truth. So I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. Relationships should be about addition, not rehabilitation. Don't get those two confused. Don't get those two confused. Every year that you invest in a man's potential is a year you cannot get back or invest anywhere else. You gotta understand that time is your most valuable, non-renewable resource. Don't be out here letting a man ask you to gamble that on his maybe. Because while you waiting for him to get ready, other men are becoming unavailable. Other men are becoming unavailable. Matter of fact, I just want to show of hands by putting the I down in the chat. If you ever waited on a man to become something he never became, you waited though. You were patient though. You were forgiving. You endured. You were willing to give him another chance to become something he never became. Your waiting didn't help. Your patience didn't help. Your forgiveness didn't help. Your continued access didn't help. Put I down in the chat if you ever did that. If you ever learned what I'm saying the hard way. Put I down in the chat. I'm really curious. I'm looking at the comments. I'm really curious if we got anybody in here that's truly lived out this. This is a safe space. This is a safe space. And again, you don't have to guess your way through this. You don't have to. Most women wait months, maybe even years to realize. I see the eyes down there, Amber Low. Everybody in there that either commented I or can admit to themselves, you've been there before. It should have never taken you months or years to realize that that man was never on your level. He was never equally yoked. Because one conversation could have shown you that on the very first date. One conversation, or at least one conversation starter, one question. That's what I was telling the young lady. One question could have revealed the work this man never did on how he responds to feeling offended or disrespected. One question. I don't care how good he tried to front, how good he tried to pretend. Again, comment the word real if you want the conversation starters that's going to expose all the red flags in a man on date one. Comment real. I'm going to give you a link to get all the conversation starters. A lot of times, this is what I pull from. Comment real if you want the conversation starters that's going to get to the real version of them. And I'm going to send it to you. I'll put the link down there. It's called the Skin Deep. But I really want y'all to be more vigilant about your time. The months, the years. It's one thing to give a man money. You can get that back. It's one thing to give a man your body. You can cut the soul ties and act like he never existed. But when you spend years and years on a man because you was looking for somebody to grow with instead of a man who's already grown, you can't get those years back. I hate to be the messenger. I hate to be the messenger, but at the same time, I'm your big bro. You know I got you. That whole growth journey is supposed to have already begun in his younger years. Established adults should have plenty of track record for their growth, meaning they got the basics down. They should have already completed that part. Those are called prerequisites. If that man is still growing into himself at 40, he's developmentally delayed. It's not fashionably late. Like, am I tripping? Come on now. Again, when you get to a certain age, that person you dealing with, it shouldn't be based on potential. You should require him to come already potenched. Already with some kind of proof of concept, who he is, what he's on. It shouldn't be no more potential. I hate to break it to you. Oh, I'm still building. Ain't nobody perfect. We all do got some work to do. But why you ain't did none? In your emotional development, in your mental development, why you ain't did nothing? You ain't did nothing. In your emotional regulation, you ain't did nothing. The childhood trauma, you still repeating it instead of working on it? Nothing. No more potential. Now you deserve a man who has proof. Your fertility window don't care about potential. Again, every year that you invest in that potential is a year you cannot get back. Stop playing with the years of your life, the best years of your life. That's the only way that you can weed out people who ain't playing games at all, is when they didn't play any games when it came to preparing for what they want. You have to be the woman. Sisters, this as your big bro. you either going to be one or two. You're going to be the woman that take what she can get. Or you're going to be the woman that a man knows he has to come prepared for. That part is up to you. And again, you shouldn't be guessing your way into whether or not y'all are compatible, whether or not y'all's values align. You shouldn't be trying to do that. When you can have one conversation, maybe it takes two. But by the first date, end of the first date, you should already know who you're dealing with. Now, the conversations I recommend, which really are more so conversation starters, I'll send them all to you. Comment the word real, I'll send them to you. I've been using them for a while now to help thousands of women save years of their life by having the right conversation early. Comment the word real so you can start asking dudes what their favorite color is and missing all the red flags and feeling all regretful later on. You should be able to see them early. You should be able to know whether or not a man can mentally stimulate you early. I pinned the comment too, so you can't miss it. You get 15% off. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet big bro. If this was in any way helpful to you, hit the share button down there so you can spread more of this truth, because people love spreading BS and lies. If you one of those that believes in the truth, go ahead and hit that little arrow down at the bottom, hit the share button. But again, if you want to have real conversations that go beyond the surface level, so you can know who you're dealing with and know if you should be dealing with them, my number one recommendation, comment the word real. I'll send you a 15% off discount. They got several on there. I like the healing and the couples editions. The healing and the couples editions are my favorite. But again, comment real. I'll send you 15% off. Y'all be good. Peace.